This is Real News Media TV, coverage you can trust. Please like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates. Good night, my Real News Media TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update for March 10, 2023. And in the news tonight, artist unknown Gringo killed in Trelawney gun attack. The music industry has been plunged into mourning following news of the death of recording artist unknown Gringo in Rock District in Trelawney early Friday morning. The corporate communication unit confirmed that the tank-up DJ was killed by unknown assailants who shot him while he was in his car. The artist, given name Francis Morris, hailed from a Retreat Heights address in Falmouth, Trelawney. Reports are that about 12:32 a.m., residents heard explosions and summoned the police. On arrival of the lawmen, Morris was seen in the driver's seat of a Toyota Crown motorcar with gunshot wounds. He was pronounced dead at hospital. Dancehall selector Ricky Trooper wrote, "R.I.P. youth, condolences to your family. Bad DJ, really shocked me star when me hear the sad news. Nah lie, you was a promising star." A fan also wrote, "Long time him there on. Him used to wear a mask, bad artist still. R.I.P. tank up." Unknown Gringo is known for songs such as Brawling Death, Vroom Vroom, Money Factory, Shy featuring Jada Kingdom, and the island-wide hit Tank Up. Unknown Gringo used to go by the name No Face Unknown and wore a mask when he scored up a popular hit with the single Tank Up. The DJ, who was raised in Flankers, made his Reggae Sumfest debut in 2019, a performance which he says earned a new fan base and increased his following. He was reportedly putting the finishing touches on his The Return of the Unknown Gringo EP at the time of his death. Stepfather of 9-year-old Nikita Noel charged with rape and murder. The main suspect in the death of 9-year-old Nikita Noel, who was found dead in bushes at the side of a road in her home community of Kew in Hanover last month, has been charged. 42-year-old Mark Green, a construction worker of a Barbary Hill Lucy address, the intimate partner of Nikita's mother, was charged with murder and rape late Thursday evening. Green is to make an appearance in court next week. The funeral service for Noel is expected to be held on Saturday. On Thursday, head of the Hanover Police Division, Superintendent Sharon Beeput, told the monthly general meeting of the Hanover Municipal Corporation that the suspect, who is in protective custody, will be charged before the end of the week. She had stated that the police were 99% closer to charging the suspect. "We would love to do it before the funeral service on Saturday, so we are working together to see. We have to meet with lawyers based on certain things, but it is so close. That is something that we are very positive about, and I guess when everything has been put together, the division can breathe a sigh of relief because everybody is watching that particular matter. And I think we did a good job at our investigation," stated Superintendent Beeput. A day following Nikita's death, Assistant Commissioner of Police in charge of Area 1, Clifford Chambers, spoke on the matter. "We know that the mother's intimate partner, they had an issue between them, and that is one of the lines of inquiry which is being followed," ACP Chambers told the news then. Nikita, who family members fondly called Joanna, was a student at Esher Primary. She reportedly traveled from school with her usual taxi driver. She and other passengers exited the cab at the usual spot, the foot of a dirt road leading up a hill to where her family lives. The child's mother raised an alarm after she did not return home and could not be found. Community members and the police launched a search, and her body was found a few feet from the entrance to her house. Majority of farm workers in Canada treated well, says a fact-finding mission. Trade unionist Helen Davis White says the preliminary report on the treatment of farm workers in Canada shows that the majority of the workers are being treated well. Last year, some seasonal agricultural workers complained about having to work under substandard conditions on Canadian farms. This prompted Labour Minister Carl Samuda to deploy a fact-finding mission in October to investigate the reports. Mrs. Davis White, who chaired the mission, said from the interviews conducted, most of the workers appeared satisfied with their working conditions.
Both in terms of what we saw and what the workers' response were, because a survey questionnaire was actually developed and that addressed things like the living conditions, the relationship between the worker and the supervisor, owner, manager. And based on what we saw and what the workers indicated, we had a majority, I think about 70%, indicating that the conditions were either good or excellent. The way the program is set up, you have to have a minimum of, I think, 6 weeks and a maximum of 8 months. Those who stayed for longer periods, 6 months to 8 months, were generally very satisfied. In fact, many of those were repeat workers who had been going some as long as 20 years. And they generally reported that they were satisfied with the conditions under which they worked. But those for shorter stints, we found that they were the ones who were primarily dissatisfied. We have not been able to go into causation to find out why that is so, but that is certainly what the evidence was. On one of the farms, we had to interview the workers on another farm because they had all transferred, the reaping having been completed at the particular farm. And then we went to the other farm and had focus group sessions with the workers. And the view that has come back from both sets of workers is that while there are problems, sometimes you may have the employer speaking to the workers in a disdainful kind of fashion, etc. Overall, they felt that the conditions at both farms were acceptable. Some thought very good, but I think the majority would have said acceptable at both farms. I don't want to discount anything that they said. We are not saying that, the conditions were 100%, that you, of course, had some bad farms. Our work, though, would suggest that these bad farms are not in the majority.
JCF focused on producing emotionally intelligent officers. As the Jamaica Constabulary Force intensifies recruitment activities, Police Commissioner Major General Anthony Anderson says emphasis is being placed on producing emotionally intelligent law enforcement personnel. General Anderson says emotional intelligence is critical to properly deal with residents in varying types of communities and in unique circumstances. He adds that the enforcement of the restrictions associated with the COVID-19 pandemic underscored the importance of police officers exercising emotional intelligence in the execution of their duties.
They had to use as much or more engagement with the people they're enforcing against as they use force. We could not be strict in the way we did certain things because of the realities that exist. We have to be sensible how we approach this very difficult circumstance. The men and women that we are recruiting and we need to recruit and we want to recruit are men and women who, when faced with that most difficult of circumstances, have the emotional intelligence, the attitude, and the training to be able to enforce under those circumstances. Us who are a little more senior, have been around for a little longer. My young officers, ones who are joining now and so on, were born in 2004. Okay? 2003 when they were born. So when you start to think about that, these people, they're born and grow in technology. And we have to create a regime of training, mentorship, and leadership that those young persons, with all of that responsibility placed on them, can exercise their power and authority correctly and properly.
Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Select all for daily news updates.